So I've heard you, Ruth, many times on the podium say that any cosmetic consultation without skincare discussions and recommendations is an incomplete cosmetic consultation. So let's start right there.
100%. As a dermatologist, and I heard you give my little bio, I started out as a pediatrician and then I did a
That's
derm
right.
residency. And I started out doing actually pediatric dermatology. And then my patients got older and they asked me, could I inject Botox? And I had never injected Botox. I actually spent an afternoon, I used to put them on the train and they would go down to see Pat Wexler. And then
Oh, wow.
finally, one day she called me and said, Ruth, why are you sending them to me? You're going
Right.
to
You need
do
to
it.
do it.
And so I got on the train and I went down to Pat's office, and that's how.
Oh, great.
But what I found was that as I got older and my patients got older, and I started to have younger patients and more questions about what do I do at home, that if I wasn't discussing that, someone with less knowledge was going to be discussing that. And that was what brought you and I together in terms of what is it, why are our patients coming into us with all of these pictures of products and they're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars at the counters at Saks Fifth Avenue, and why is this happening? And so that's really what started my interest in how do I educate my patients. And even though they were coming for Botox or neuromodulators or fillers or laser treatments, I realized that if they weren't going home with a true scientific based methodology of how they were treating skin, then I was not helping them 100% of the time.
So, one of the complaints that we hear a lot from our colleagues when you and I are on the podium talking about dispensing, which we often are, I don't have time. So, tell us, walk us through your flow. I know that is part of your genius, and you are a genius because
Well,
you have figured it out.
it takes figuring it out. It is a dance that needs to be choreographed over and over. It's not something that you figure out once, like how we used to when we were all trained to do Botox. We had one map of how we
Mhm.
should inject. And guess what happened? Even 5 years ago, we learned guess what? The frontalis comes a little bit lower. And if we're injecting a centimeter above the brow, we're going to cause a medial brow drop.
Rautosis, yeah.
The same thing happens with skincare. If you're not figuring out how your office flow is changing and when the patient needs to be basically not handcuffed, but thought brought into the circle of what is this office visit going to be, if you're not paying attention to the timing of that, you will get behind and you'll talk about your children or your vacations when really, I guess what, there's not time for that either. You need to talk about what the patient came for. So our method is it starts right when they make their appointment.